Hello and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Video Mail for the week of November 26, 2012. Welcome to the site to all you new members, and welcome back to the site to all you old members. The Ask Video Mail is your chance to get your question in character animation or performance answered in a video just like this one, but I need your question if I'm going to answer it, so please send your questions to webmaster@KennyRoy.com. I go through all the questions and I answer the ones that I think will help the most people. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and it is, of course, the best way to get the most out of the site. And you can even send me your Maya file. If you're stuck, you just hit a technical roadblock, or you're having any problem with your scene, just send me the Maya file and maybe you'll get an Ask Video Mail that will address your issue in character animation. So, man, it is, I can't believe that it's actually November. I can't believe it. That's crazy. It's still like, it's like February like 19th, 20th for me, like in my body, in my brain. Man, the year went by so fast. So we're getting into winter. We're going to wind down the year. Things are, of course, going to continue here at KennyRoy.com like they always do with your weekly video mail and monthly lecture. I just know, I don't know. I hope it goes on forever, and that is a lot in part to your help. I love it if you can refer members. You get a big bonus. You get a free month. You get 30 days added to your subscription if you refer a member that signs up here on KennyRoy.com. All they have to do is put in your exact username on their form when they sign up, and then boom, automatically 30 days are added to your account if they sign up for a 30-day trial, or if they purchase a 30-day or 60-day subscription. You get 60 days added, boom, automatically, instantaneously if they sign up for a year. So it's easy to do, it's free to do. Please refer your friends, and we can grow the community here on KennyRoy.com. I hope you've been noticing that there's been more activity in the forums. There's been a lot of diverse Ask Video Mail questions from new members. I've really enjoyed answering, and I don't know, if you want to keep it going, let's keep it going together. I'm going off to Autodesk University, actually. As of recording this, I'm going in like four hours. I'm leaving to go there. If you don't know what that is, check it out. If you're probably not attending, if you haven't checked it out yet, of course, but next year, I know they really want to grow their media and entertainment tracks out so that they become a big part of Autodesk University. And let's see what else. I think that will just about cover it. Today's question is very kind of like a personal kind of question. I really want to answer it because even though it doesn't have as much to do with really taking on a character animation problem, this is a problem that we all have had. We all have had it. So I really wanted to just take a second and kind of answer this personally and see what you think. So let's take a look at the question. So, you all probably know a little bit about me, maybe a couple places I've worked and the films that I've worked on, or that I own a studio, I'm here right now, that kind of thing. But you probably don't know a thing about me in terms of like how I actually got into and learned animation, that moment between being inspired by animation itself and going out into the world. So I thought I'd answer this question and tell you just a little bit about my story and how it came to pass that I did decide to persevere and try to get into it. When I was very young, computers were just getting, just like being invented really, and there were a lot of programs that you could have on your computer that were just like drawing programs. And I would do those little drawing programs, like drawing lines and shapes and filling them in and that kind of stuff. And my older brother was a programmer. So fast forward about 6 or 7 years of doing that, and then you have a desktop PC that actually runs like DOS. And he was actually trying to program some games. And I had a copy of 3D Studio R4, which was for DOS, and he basically forced me to learn it. like only an older brother can, And so this was still at a tender young age. I think I was early teens when this was going on, and we're like a garage video game company, and he and we made a game. We never released it, of course, because those kind of avenues and channels, we had no idea what to do. So anyway, but we made this game, and it was basically a robot. It was a top view robot, kind of like flying and shooting game. And so that was like a very formative time for me as an artist. I always loved to draw. I always loved to paint, but I was really into like acting and performing and whatever. So I did theater, and I did plays and went to acting classes and all that stuff. But it wasn't that I had no idea that I wanted to be an animator at all at that point. It took it was later when I was in high school, and I took film class because I was also, of course, extremely into film. And I started realizing that I had the skills from learning the computer and learning about 3D and CG systems from before. I realized that I had the skill to tell much more interesting stories and to go to more interesting places with animation already when I started in film class. So we started shooting Super 8, and then we shot on 16 millimeter, and they had some video cameras, but we weren't really doing video editing. And my father was an editor, and he took one of his editing systems and he brought it home, and I was actually able to edit my projects at home. And so I installed 3D Studio Max version 1.2 on that computer. And I remember my idea was I was going to do my next film project as an animation. And I did. And I didn't tell the teacher I was doing this, and I made it, and I turned it in, and she was like, it was like blew her mind. She was so excited. And then from there, I just started doing more and more and more of that kind of stuff. And the fact that I had that early on like feeling of success carried me very, very, very far. It wasn't until I applied. So then I decided basically like, oh my God, well, this is what I have to do, of course. I have to make films, I have to tell stories, and I'm gonna do it with animation because it's so much easier really than with film, because film, like all of a sudden like reality hit, like cold hard reality hits you really fast with film, because you go out there and you've got your camera and you realize, oh my God, I've got nothing here. Like, okay, he's an alien. Well, you were gonna put makeup on him and a goofy hat? No. Okay, crap, this sucks. I hate this. So I'd sit down at the computer, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, anything I want to do. So that early on success really carried me far. But when I realized that in order to work in this field and to actually be a success, I would have to specialize. And I obviously did a lot of research, and I talked, my father was at that point editing the DVD featurettes and the special editions for Pixar. So he started on, I think he started on second film, Bug's Life. So he started on Bug's Life, and he was with them for Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, and Incredibles, okay? So I was bombarded with all of this amazing animation like all the time, because it's all we ever talked about, and he was his biggest client. And then basically I was like, crap, if I really am interested in all the areas of CG, I really like modeling is kind of therapeutic and fun, I'm enjoying, you know, everything, but if I want to be at the top level and I want to be involved in these amazing films, then I'm going to have to specialize. And the one that seems like it is the surest path for me would be animation. And it combined a lot of the things that I liked, which was directing. You kind of direct your character through the scene. It's acting because you're performing through your character. It has a lot of like physics and kind of like technical stuff to it. I do really like realistic animation and the creatures and the kind of like the special effects kind of stuff. You know, all of the drawing and painting and composition and all that stuff, it really seemed like it wrapped everything up nicely. So I started focusing on animation, but it was too late. So the major setback, and I know this, I'm not saying this to brag, you know, I know how fortunate I am, I know how lucky I am, but I've only had one real major setback, which was that I realized too late that animation required, if you wanted to go to school for it, back then, it required a really, really, really intense portfolio filled with a ton of drawing. And I can draw. I'm a lot more of an illustrator though than I am like an animator, someone who can, you know, draw 200 of the same, you know, the same character on model, you know, for a 10-second shot. I can't do that. So the fact is that I applied to one school and one school only, because back then there weren't any computer animation programs. I applied to CalArts and I was rejected and my life was over. I'm like, oh my God, there's no one that's teaching CG. There's no like computer animation. CalArts at that time had something they called the experimental animation program, but I wanted to apply to the character animation program. If you were in the experimental animation program, you could use computers for your projects, but I just knew that if I didn't do the character animation program, that I wouldn't be taken seriously and I probably wouldn't get a job. So what did it take to get past that rejection? What did it take from me? It was a combination of things. I had a huge support structure that I had built around myself. I've told this time and time again that when I was learning CG, I spent hours and hours every single day. I am not kidding you. Every single day. Posting on the 3D Cafe forums. Now, I'm not even sure if 3D Cafe even exists anymore. Doesn't matter. Don't go there because, you know, I don't want to be advertising for 3D Cafe right now. But what it was basically a model repository, and they had supposedly exclusive resources, and you know they were taking people's money, and it was kind of like a lame thing. But that was later on. I was there for the forums, and they were an extremely active forum community, and I actually had something like 5,000 posts in 3 years. And that, if you do the math on that, let's say I'm posting 5 days a week times 52 is 260. Okay, so that's 260 days a year. 5,000 divided by 260 is roughly 19 posts a day. I'm sorry. That's wrong, because I said it was about 3 years. Sorry, 260 times 3. All right, 780, okay? So 5,000 divided by 780 instead. Okay, so six posts a day. That's 6 posts every single day, like weekday, okay? But that's absolutely 6 posts a day, okay? Now on Animation Mentor, they say post 5. They say that you should be posting, every week, you should be posting 5 things, be it a comment on someone else's work, be it a forum post, whatever. I think that is so bare minimum. It's not even worth it. Okay, so I was posting 6 things, 6.5 every single day. Okay, And that might be a small thing, it might be a big thing. I've said before that giving critique is one of the most selfish things you can do. It might be like, you might think to yourself, oh, I'm giving this person critique, I'm giving all my time, and they're only benefiting. No, you are benefiting way more than they are when you give critique. You're developing your eye, you are actually explaining things to them in a way that they need to understand. So when you teach something, you are actually ingraining it in yourself, and you're working out all the kinks of the concept for you. So you get so much benefit from that. So 5,000 posts in 3 years meant that I had been really cycling through all of the concepts and really trying to improve myself, and it worked. Okay. When I was rejected from CalArts, I dove into that even more. I went double hardcore into the forums, and what I actually did is we got together about 50 or 60 of the people who were actually posting every single day, and we started our own forum, and it was called digitalrendering.com. And for the next 2 years, I racked up about another 10,000 posts. All right. So I instead of like saying like, oh, what am I doing wrong, and am I really cut out for this, I doubled down on the amount of immersion that I thought I needed, and I just went for it. And it was extremely important that it was the people that were posting every single day, because it was almost as if I had people around me, almost literally around me, but they were virtually around me at all times, and I could bounce ideas off of them, critique their work, and actually feel like I was still part of a community, even though like I didn't get what I wanted. Okay, so I ended up going to Long Beach on a full scholarship because I did well in school. I got an academic scholarship, if you can believe that. But during that time, actually right before that time is when I did my apprenticeship at ILM. And I got that as well because of my academic, because I did well academically. Long story short, I entered into basically a art competition, and it was a national competition, and I was selected, and one of the judges happened to be from ILM. So we kept in touch, and I told him I'd really love to come up. I'll take out the trash. I don't care. I just want to be in the building, whatever. And even better than that, he hooked me up with an animator named Jen, and she became my mentor basically, and it was just the most amazing experience for somebody who didn't know if they were going to do it and whatever. The apprenticeship ended, I went to school, and that's when I dove like even deeper into the forums and just like surrounded myself with the people who were doing the same thing as me, and really excited about CG as well. So I thought I was like rotting away. I thought I was like literally wasting away and not being able to work and whatever, and I thought to myself, all the people who have been accepted at CalArts right now are going through the program, and they're going off and they're being character animators, and I'm sitting here doing my own thing, and I was really nervous. So I decided to make another short film. And I was in the middle of this short film when I sent some of the renders to R&H. So sorry, I worked for a little bit on some small projects, but then I really hunkered down on this short film, and I sent some of it to R&H. And I actually got an interview at R&H from this, and after that, the rest is basically history. They hired me for Scooby-Doo 2 and kept me on for Garfield, and I did some freelance for a couple small studios, then off to Weta, and then back, started my own place. You know the rest. So the real main point, the real main takeaway, I think, is that as much as you think And I also posted on my Facebook. If you haven't seen my Facebook in a while, you should check it out. I posted this link for a motivational speech by Tony Robbins, who's obviously the best motivational speaker ever to ever live. And he says that if everything's going wrong, it's probably just a millimeter difference. That's what it's actually called, just a millimeter difference, and you can probably fix something that's going wrong in your life. But I knew that when it looked like the opportunity, the chance was taken away from me, you cannot go to the school of character animation, therefore you're not going to be a character animator. I fell back on this huge community of people who were so super supportive. I told them all when it happened. I went on and I posted, and I wrote this whole long thing about I'm not sure what's in store for me now. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this, whatever. And then everyone just rushed up and carried me through. It was a rough couple of weeks at least, but then for the years after that, when I was going to school and to be an illustrator, I was going to the illustration program because I thought, okay, well, I need to learn to draw, and I need to learn to draw really well and quickly. So I did the illustration program at Long Beach, and I was planning on trying to apply again to CalArts when I was done. So that's how desperate I was to go to CalArts. All right. So anyway. So the real takeaway is that you can't do this in a vacuum. And the Animation Mentor students have a really good, it's really good for them because they have that community that's built already for them, and they can step in and feel that support immediately. If you're not an AM student, you need to find that somewhere else. You might be able to find that here in the Kenny Roy forums. Post every single day, critique everything that gets put up there, and engage in a conversation with them. It might seem like it's a lot of your time to help somebody else animate, but you're actually helping yourself twice as much easily as you are helping them by critiquing. So, or maybe start a meetup group. Find some way to get people around you, because they will lift you up. They will support you when you're down, and it'll just really help you get where you want to be. So that's the real takeaway here. Cool. So now you know everything about how I get started. I really appreciate that question, and to you, George, do not give up. Just don't give up. All right? Just don't. And you can help yourself by giving yourself little boosts by doing the thing, like I said, in the motivation, keeping motivated, the article series, by making tiny little shots. And I know it's silly, it's like, like a little task, like, okay, throw this and catch it. Good job, you're the best, you know what I mean? It kind of feels silly, but you know what? If you just practice doing something that you do get good at, that's a tiny little foothold. It's the most minuscule little foothold, and you can move from there, okay? So take that advice, please. Thank you for the question. Please send more questions. Send them to webmaster@kennyroy.com. Remember, I answered the questions I think will help the most people. I hope this was helpful to you. Send in your questions or your Myoscenes if you want a video mail just for you. Cool. All right, guys, I'm off to Autodesk University. Have a great time. Good luck with your animation, and as always, rock on.